Hi guys, just give me a second. Hey Cicely, Amanda's here. All right. Hopefully my setup won't topple over. Oh, this is much better. All right, we'll give it a couple of minutes. What are we on? 8:01. I guess I'll start at 8:02. I'm not gonna be on too late, as I have a lot of stuff going on. Alrighty. So guys, we're gonna get started. Y'all know me. Okay, I'm finally on time. Maybe a minute late, but you know, better just a minute late than an hour, right? So guys, I guess we'll start. Hi G, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. We'll start with I'll start with the intro and then we'll just go into it. Welcome to Intuitive Vibes Narc Survival 101. This is a channel dedicated to survivors of abuse. My name is Erica, in case anyone is new or anyone needs to know. If you are new to the channel, stick around, listen in. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. And if today's live session doesn't help you with whatever your situation is, then you can always go to the other live sessions that we've had before or go through some of my content. There's plenty of it. And if you have any questions, I'll leave all of my information at the end of the video so you can contact me if you need to. And of course, to my existing vibers, my subscribers, welcome back, guys. So guys, just a few things to mention. Yeah, like I said, I know I'm normally on for a longer period of time, but this, and Amanda can vouch for me, it has been such a really hectic week, having issues with my son and his school. They just started school, and you know, between work, and it's just so much has been going on. But I decided that I was not going to skip today because, you know, listen, I made a promise and I intend on keeping it. So we're going to continue with our Tuesday lives. But other than that, I'm trying to hold on to whatever little bit of sanity I have. Hi, Allie. How are you, sweetheart? Trying to hold on to it, guys. Trying to hold on to it. So there was just a couple of things that I wanted to go over, and then we're just going to get right into the live session. And well, the first thing I want to tell you guys is what we're going to really be discussing this live session. We're going to be discussing the different types of gaslighting phrases that a narcissist or a manipulator, you know, tends to use, whether they be in your family dynamic or just in your romantic relationship. I find this to be very heavily important. And the reason I wanted to talk about this was, interestingly enough, I did mention to you guys last live that I just started TikTok, and it's doing extremely well. I mean, I guess because of the fact that the videos are a little bit shorter, but you know, it gives the details of what needs to be said right then and there at that point. I did, however, get some comments, and I'm going to mention it because I want people to understand something. The comments that I got was, you know, the content that I'm putting out is really veering towards the negative aspects of relationships. And, you know, it can really like plant a seed in people's heads and, you know, make them feel like, well, let me take her advice, you know, because this is what's really going on. All of you who are my original subscribers and all of you who've been with me on this journey for quite some time already know that this is dedicated to those who are familiar, who relate to, you know, the abuse in toxic relationships, toxic family dynamics, narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy, things to that effect. And never do I ever tell anyone what to do. I give the advice that I need to give. I give the general information that I need to give. And of course, you guys apply it to yourselves however way you want to. But I always encourage using discernment, because in any dynamics, discernment is where you really need to make sure that you're properly applying certain situations. Well, I should say, certain ingredients in your dynamic. So, needless to say, you do get people who sit there and say, well, you're making it seem like it's a general thing for general people, and no, it's not. This clearly pertains to people who are in manipulative relationships, toxic dynamics, and they need guidance, they need help to understand what it is they're dealing with. Hi Stella. Hi Yogi. Hi sweetheart, I'm glad you were able to make it. Ty, how are you, sweetheart? Welcome back. I'm sorry, guys. You guys know me. I like to. Hi, Onitha. I like to make sure I shout everybody out. And if there is anyone new or anyone who is, joining in for the first time and you want to become better acquainted with everyone, please, you can, give yourself a shout out. You'll be given a very big, warm welcome, because on this side, nothing but support. Okay, nothing but support. So don't be afraid to say hello. Thank you, Allie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I like to make sure that people understand that the information that I'm putting out is, based on personal experience, based on, of course, clearly studies, because that's what psychology is. Psychology is that the base of psychology is studies. You study different people, different behaviors, different patterns. I mean, that's the primal foundation in psychology. It's all based on study. It's based on monitoring people's behaviors and, understanding the types of behaviors. And even in this field, you have therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists that can misdiagnose people. It has happened plenty of times. So I like to just stay on the more realistic end of things, and I like to just pretty much give it to you guys straight. And as you know, my content is very triggering. It can be very triggering. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not bad to be triggered, only because, what have I told you guys before? If or when you ever get triggered, that's a part of you that needs to still be healed. So triggers are important, because that's a part of you that needs to, get that residue out, so that way because you're on a journey of healing. And it's natural and it's normal to be triggered. It's natural and it's normal to have, your trust issues and your guard up. That's all completely normal. And I wouldn't expect anything less of you guys. So when I do my videos, I mean, people tend to kind of, when they take other people's content, they tend to kind of run with it, and I clearly label everything, so I can make it, I specify what I'm referring to. In my videos, you notice I say manipulators, I say narcissists, I say sociopaths or psychopaths, or you have to be specific, because not everybody is the same. You have people who just are really selfish people, but it doesn't necessarily make them a narcissist. So my content is referring to the specifics. It's referring to the dynamics that people can really relate to, that have been in these situations. There are other videos, there are other platforms that talk about, just relationships in general, that talk about family dynamics just in general. But here we're discussing abuse. We're discussing the dynamics of abuse, the essence, and pretty much everything that it's involved with. That's what we're discussing. Hi, Charisse. Charisse, I hope I pronounced it right. How are you, sweetheart? Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for being here. Raphael, how are you, love? Okay. Hawea? I murder names, guys. So I'm sorry if I don't say the name right. I'm bad at it. I'm usually pretty good with names, but I'm bad with the screen names. But so guys. Oh, okay. I see you changed. Wait. Charisse. did I want to make sure, because was that your original? Is that your original, or did I have you as a moderator? Because it looks as if I have you as a moderator. I don't know if I accidentally hit your name by mistake. Just let me know. I don't want to give anybody the And of course, I have not forgotten about you, Ty. I have not forgotten about you. Okay, I first want to offer my condolences to you and your family. Amanda informed me as to what was going on. I've been it's been so hectic and crazy. But you've been on my mind. And actually last week I made sure to tell everybody, listen, let's send some prayers out for him, because I knew you were going through something. I didn't want to say anything because I wanted to respect your privacy, but I definitely, I'm sending my condolences to you and your family. And I do wish God to, to comfort you guys, in this time. It's not easy losing someone. It really isn't. And I hope that, I don't know if you could tell, I'm not very good at this. I'm really, really not good at this, because when it comes down to grief, I'm like, I get super emotional. So I try to keep a level head with it. But, you definitely you have been thought of. And, we definitely have, you've been with us in spirit. And I hope that, you felt our presence in yours. Okay, Cherise, thank you. I just wanted to make sure. I don't want to click on your name and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I made her a moderator, and she might not want that. So guys, so we're gonna timestamp it in. It's 8:12. So I'll definitely timestamp the video for anyone who just wants to go straight into it. And I missed you too, Ty. I was when we did the live last week, and I know you're usually there, and I said we're missing somebody, and that's when but listen, I understand completely, and you take all the time that you need, and I'm glad that we can be here for you. So if if talking to us is helpful for you, then that's what matters most, and I'm glad that we're able to do that for you. I'm so glad that everybody's just coming together, and it goes to show that love, you can be battered, you could be bruised, you could be hurt, you could be scarred, you can want to give up, but the reality of it is that God didn't give you guys a heart of stone. You guys are still making your ways, and you're definitely working on it. So I give it to you guys. I'm very, very proud of you guys. So guys, now we'll get started into it. I'm gonna timestamp it. Amanda, 8:13 is when it's gonna start. So I'll just be sure to, or if you can, if my ADD doesn't kick in, and hopefully more people will. Butch, my man Butch is here. Hopefully, people will just start coming in. I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably be some people that are just gonna be checking it out, which is fine. That's fine. You don't have to say anything. You can just check it out and see how it goes. If you feel comfortable, then definitely join in on us. So I wanted to talk about a lot of the gaslighting phrases that narcissists use in situations, and again, whether it be with your family or it be in your romantic relationships. It's kind of like a toss, between the two, because you have a lot of people who dealt with familial narcissists, and you have people who've dealt with relationship narcissists. So at the end of the day, I really don't think there's too much of a difference when it boils down to the gaslighting phrases. It's just a matter of the situation itself. That's pretty much it. But everybody knows what gaslighting is, right? We know the tool gaslighting. It's the crazy making tool. It's the tool that a manipulator, not just a narcissist, just a manipulator in general, uses to make people feel like they are pretty much going crazy, that they are seeing things, they're hearing things, they don't know what it is they're what it is they're talking about, or they make you question your memory. Are you losing your memory? Are you losing your mind? Are you going insane? And it's you know what, it's common. It's a common phrase used with narcissists, but it's just manipulators in general. So someone can be a manipulator and not necessarily be a narcissist, even though a narcissist is inherently a manipulator, if that makes sense. So it's like, I've been learning a lot of different things over time when it boils down to narcissism and just NPD as a whole. And it's people often, because a narcissist is a manipulator, people often correlate their exes, their random relationships or their long extended relationships with narcissism. And just a few things before we get into that, into the gaslighting phrases. There are a few things that we have to debunk when it boils down to narcissism, because it's being used in just the largest quantity that we can possibly think of. And what we need to understand is there is a difference between someone being a narcissist and someone being narcissistic. Okay, there is a big difference. One is describing a person who suffers a personality disorder. The other one is describing someone who has traits of someone who is suffering a personality disorder. So narcissists, when they're diagnosed as being a narcissist, I read somewhere they said approximately 5% of the population, of the world's population, are narcissists. So if you take the world's population, times it by 5%, that's the amount of narcissists that they're saying do exist. I really don't know how concrete that is. And the reason I say that is because the same people who say this are the same people who say that male narcissism is more common than female narcissism. And I don't really know if I believe that to be true too. But people are capable of having extreme narcissistic traits, which means that they're not classified as a narcissist, but they have the traits of a narcissist. So anyone is capable of being narcissistic. Anyone is capable of having the traits of a narcissist. The bottom line of that is that we all have a dose of narcissism within us. Okay, we're all on the spectrum. That long spectrum called narcissism, we're all on it. However, we have what's considered a healthy dose of narcissism. And with every healthy dose of narcissism, there is an unhealthy dose of narcissism. The type of narcissists that we refer to, that we speak of, are the types that are more on the pathological scale. They're on the very extreme part of the spectrum. But anyone is capable of being narcissistic. You even have temporary narcissism, where even in the moment, you're temporarily narcissistic. And it's common. It happens. It does happen. One prime example of it, I remember when I was doing my studies on it, one prime example of it is where if you get, let's say you get into a new relationship, right? You have you hang out in your big group of friends, you get into a new relationship, you're embedded in that new relationship, which is, I guess, is normal because, it's a new relationship and you want to spend time together and you want to, you have people who, when they get involved, they like to broadcast it. They like to show it out to the world. This is my person and this is who I'm with. And that's, that's the day, that's what we live in. That's the generation we live in now. Right. But you can be considered narcissistic because all of your focus is in your relationship and the foundation and the structure and, making it look pretty and making it look good and, so forth and so on. That's considered a form of temporary narcissism. It's like, okay, you're so self-absorbed in this dynamic that you're dealing with. So, just so we understand, and so people who are new understand that, you could be dealing with a full-blown narcissist. And I'm not negating, anyone's stories on their situations. You could be dealing with a full-blown narcissist, or you could be dealing with someone who is extremely narcissistic. Either way, okay? We don't make excuses for anybody, right? We don't make excuses, and we don't sit there, hi, Davey. We don't sit there and say, well, that's not a narcissist. They're just narcissistic. It don't matter. They're still an asshole. So it doesn't really matter, does it? But there is a difference, Okay. Another thing that I have to debunk this, because it's been very, very common where people who have been in relationships say that my ex cheated on me, my ex left me for someone else, my ex decided to just go and do, whatever they wanted to do with someone else, and just, abandon me. They're a narcissist. No, that does not make that true. It does not necessarily make that true. They clearly, when someone commits infidelity, someone cheats on you, they're coming from a very selfish, deep-rooted part of themselves, because to cheat, to commit infidelity, is a very selfish act. It is extremely selfish. To lie to someone and go on the outskirts of your relationship, yes, it's very selfish, it's very immoral, it's wrong. It is definitely wrong. To cheat, just in general, it's wrong, but it does not necessarily make them a narcissist. And I think a lot of people, because of the different ways of describing someone, it's like, okay, yeah, you just described my ex, you just did this, you just did that. We gotta, we can't just throw the word around, because if everybody was a narcissist, there would be no victims. You understand? So it's I mean, listen, we will call a spade a spade. They could be an a-hole, they could be, a B, they could be all kinds of names that we want to call them. But if they're not classified as a narcissist, they couldn't be branded one either. Yes, Ty. Narcissistic or just selfish, negative, stay away from me. Absolutely. And that's just the one thing about it. People who are selfish, people who are because people who are emotionally unavailable, narcissists are clearly emotionally unavailable people. Okay? However, if you notice how how one bounces off of the other. So a narcissist is an emotionally unavailable person, but an emotionally unavailable person does not necessarily have to be a narcissist, right? Remember when I told you guys about the Peter Pan syndrome? Narcissists generally they tend to have Peter Pan syndrome, but people who have Peter Pan syndrome are not all considered to be narcissists. So it's clear to say that a narcissist would demonstrate a lot of these behaviors, have a lot of these issues within them. But people who have issues that are non-narcissists are just simply classified as, selfish. I'm sorry, my phone rang. People who suffer these types of issues are not necessarily narcissists. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. And I mean, listen, at the end of the day, what it boils down to is they have to be demonstrating certain types of behaviors, a number of behaviors, to be classified as a narcissist. So even if in the event you find out you didn't deal with someone who was in fact a narcissist, but they were extremely narcissistic and they had all of the, the signs and the symptoms, regardless, they're toxic, they're unhealthy, and you need to just pretty much stay away from them. Stay away from them at all, by any means necessary. Give me 1 second. Atai says, at Erica, waiting for that camera again. What camera? I'm trying to remember did I mention something about a camera? Okay. G says, if I see one more listicle about introversion, I'm going to cry. A narcissist masquerading as a sensitive introvert. And that's probably the reason why a lot of narcissists are categorized. They have different categories. You know, you have like, I would guess someone who's masquerading as a sensitive introvert is probably a vulnerable narcissist. You know, the vulnerable narcissists are the ones who are like they're the introverts. They're not really around too many people. They're more like, you know, to themselves, and they're they have that sense of, you know, their low self-esteem. They wear it on their sleeve. They wear that on their sleeve. So it's kind of like, you know, if I put myself down, if I, you know, show people that I'm not worthy or whatever the case may be, that's their way of obtaining validation. That's their way of getting, you know, compliments out of people, or getting people to fuel them, to feed them the supply based on, you know, just complimenting them, you know. So it's like the extroverted ones, the classic narcissists, the somatics, the ones that are more, you know, like more grandiose. They're the ones who really plant that in your head. They plant in your head that they're great people, that they're people of great stature. They're people who are, you know, they're very special. They're the ones who put that in your head. But the introverted, the vulnerable narcissists are the ones who just feed off of your sympathy and your empathy, you know, and on that route. And I never even knew that these types of people, you know, introverted, vulnerable narcissists, I never knew that they would really, you know, they would, believe it or not, they do that. They put themselves down, and their way of feeling good about themselves is you, like, kind of like, you know, you see them down on the ground, you bring yourself down to them and try to lift them up. So you're pretty much leaving where you stand, which is, you know, listen, I don't really like to say that, you know, anyone's beneath anyone, but at the end of the day, if someone's there and you're up here, you're clearly above them. They want to bring you down to them so they can use your empathy and your sympathy to fuel them and lift them back up. And, you know, but I mean, hey, I guess it's kind of counterintuitive. It's like, you know, it's where you have black, you have to have white. Where you have night, you have to have day. So when it boils down to narcissists, if you have one type, there's going to be a counter narcissist. There's going to be the opposite of that type. So if you got vulnerable, you're going to have invulnerable. And invulnerable narcissists are the opposite of a vulnerable narc. Give me 1 second. Hi, official. I just want to make sure that I didn't forget anybody. Okay. Guys, if you guys I don't know if I passed anyone or if you had questions, but if you did, just let me know, because it keeps going. So, but what I did want to talk about was as far as the gaslighting, because gaslighting, especially now when you're learning so much more about mental health awareness, narcissism, manipulation, all of the things that most people never really thought to learn, because you never thought that you would be in a situation like this, or you never thought, you know, that this would actually, you know, happen to you. I mean, how many of you knew about narcissism before, you know, you actually started learning about it? And I'm pretty sure all of us here could say that none of us knew about it. None of us knew about narcissism. None of us knew about narcissistic tendencies, or, you know, or even when it boiled down to our own traumas. Like, we knew deep in our gut that there was something about us that we really couldn't understand, and that but we didn't know it was trauma. We didn't know that we were dealing with internal issues, internal struggles. I mean, we spent our lives believing that this was normal, just like a narcissist does. They spend their lives believing that their behaviors and what they do and how they treat people, that it's normal. The reality is that it's not. Whether you're a narcissist, a codependent, what have you, it was not normal. It's not normal to be any of those things. Erica, can you explain the difference between silent treatment and ghosting? Really not much of a difference, to be honest with you, Cicely. It's really not too much of a difference. Narcissists, their thing about ghosting is they, like as far as disappearing, they would disappear from your life. I mean, we all know what the term ghosting is, right? Someone just pretty much falls off the face of the earth. You can't locate them. You can't speak to them. You can't find them. Nothing. Everyone's situation is different, though, because you have people who've been with narcissists and they have disappeared for like days at a time, and then, when they come back, it's just like almost as if nothing happened, or they have like some crazy story, to tell the victim, when the reality is that if you were dating a narcissist and they disappeared on you for like, days, come on. That's just complete and utter bullshit. But as far as, the silent treatment, I personally don't see too much of a difference. I just see that the only difference is that in most cases, when a narcissist is just getting the silent treatment, you're still visually, you can still see them. You can still see their, what they're doing, and the purpose of silent treatment means that you're trying to communicate with them. So if you're trying to communicate with them, but they're not responding to you, they're giving you the silent treatment. But you can see clearly that they are communicating with other people, or, that they're either dating other people, seeing other people, what have you. And yet they're not responding to you. They're not responding to your texts, your calls, or any of that. That's pretty much the silent treatment. Ghosting is just pretty much disappearing, like not communicating with you at all. No trace of them whatsoever. And you have literally no way of contacting them, no way of doing, finding them, nothing. I mean, that's pretty much in any scenario with anyone when it boils down to ghosting. Either way, if you're dealing with a manipulator who utilizes these tactics, it's still manipulation. Okay, so if you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone who's extremely narcissistic, they're using silent treatment, they're ghosting, they're disappearing, they're doing whatever it is. It's all manipulation. Whichever way you look at it, it's all manipulation. And it's not just the act that is the manipulation, but it's the person committing the act, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And then this whole thing about, when people say, well, listen, I get it, narcissists, people who are narcissists, they didn't ask for this. I get it. I've heard people say, well, narcissists didn't ask for these behaviors. They didn't ask for the kind of treatment that they got. They didn't ask to be a narcissist. I get it. But at the same time, you didn't ask for any of these things. And I'm not holding that against you. But you were still proceeding. You were still continuing with these behaviors, especially when you're older. Narcissism, like if you look at the adolescents, you look at the teenagers, right? Especially today, a lot of the teenagers. You look at these teenagers and you see how a lot of them, like you can tell the narcissism in these teenagers. You can just see it. They're, competing with one another. They're, basically, I've seen teenagers that just walk around town like acting like their shit don't stink. And I'm like, yeah, you probably don't even know how to wipe your ass right. So stop it. But you have these, it's very heightened in the adolescents. It's very heightened in the teenage years. Most people And this is what studies have said. Most people who have had narcissism or who suffered narcissistic abuse from their parents or what have you, when they get older, they usually break out of it. They usually kind of like when they get to a certain point where they're mature, they would normally break out of that stage. But unfortunately, not all of them do. And a narcissist, I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that a narcissist is unaware that they are a narcissist. They're unaware of, their personality disorder. That may be so. So I'm not gonna negate, nor am I going to confirm. That may be so. But you know what you are doing. And this is why a lot of survivors, a lot of victims, a lot of advocates fight against it, because you can make as many excuses as you want to. You can say as many things as you want to say about it. But narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, this is why a lot of people who have been executed, a lot of serial killers who have been executed, a lot of people who are, listen, I can't say all of them, but clearly some of them who are sitting on death row, whenever any of them try to plead insanity, temporary insanity, or any type of insanity, the reason why these courts, these systems don't find them insane is because they were conscious. They were aware. When you are conscious, you are aware, you know what you're doing. You know what you are doing. So at the end of the day, thank you, EJ. Thank you, sweetheart. This whole, this whole thing about, they don't know what they're doing. They're not aware they're narcissists. And listen, I was not aware that I was a codependent. And my issues of my clinginess, my issues of my fears, I did project, but on the opposite scale, I'm on the opposite scale of a narcissist. I'm on the opposite point of, from a narcissist. I wasn't taking and not giving in return. If anything, I was over giving. I was overly trying to please people, being a very big people pleaser. I was just continuously giving and giving and giving. And what I wanted in return was just, validation, appreciation. Those were the things that I wanted, that I felt that I had to have relationships where it was transactional. The love, the emotions, whatever was involved in that relationship became transactional. I had to do things in order to earn someone's love. That's what I walked with. That's what I had lived with. I had to, and for me, I didn't know I was codependent because when I was involved with the person, I really loved that person. I really cared about that person. And I was a caregiver. I was, big on being a caregiver. I helped a single mom raise, my other 3 siblings. So that was put on to me at a very young age. And in my relationships, I kept giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And you know what? Though they didn't ask for it, some of them didn't ask for it. Some of them did. Some of them didn't ask for it. And it got to the point that I was like, okay, I'm giving and giving and giving, and I can't take anymore. And then when things would go wrong, and I'd be like, but I've contributed to this relationship, and this is how you treat me. Well, I didn't ask you for these things, Erica. I didn't ask you for any of these things. I didn't ask you to do any of these things. I didn't ask. There's always that technicality. But these people are aware of what they do. They're aware, okay? And the people who were narcissists, narcissistic, or manipulators in your life, they were aware of what they were doing. They were aware of betraying you. They were aware of betraying your trust. They were aware of the situation. You're going to sit here and tell me, that you are in a relationship with me. This is an example. You're in a relationship with me, but you are talking outside of the relationship to other people. You slept with someone else. You did whatever with someone else. You're going to sit here and tell me that you were not aware of what you were doing, especially if they got to sneak behind your back to do it. Why sneak if you're unaware? It takes planning to sneak around, does it not? It takes planning to do whatever it is you're going to do, does it not? So if they're going to commit infidelity, if they're going to do something, whatever the case, whatever it is, guys, whether it's your family, your lovers, your friends, whomever, it takes planning. And in order to plan, you have to be coherent. Do you not? So at the end of the day, someone can tell you, well, they're a narcissist. They don't know. I would tell you what I would tell them to do, but we trying to keep it PG-13 up in here. And you can, listen, people could tell you, well, they were victims too. Yeah, they were victims. Yeah, they were victims. They were victims at the hands of whomever it was that was raising them. They were victims at the hands of whomever it was that was, creating that dynamic for them. But they chose not to get help for their issues. They chose not to do any of these things. Because when people have to admit to certain things, when they have to say, I have issues, that means that they acknowledge that they have to change. Narcissists will not admit because they don't want to acknowledge that they need to change. People can be very prideful. Not everyone, but they can be very prideful, and they can be so embedded in their ways that they're just like, if I admit that I have dysfunctions, that I have issues, that means it's going to take me out of my comfort zone because I have to now do the work to change, and I just really don't want to do that. Why change? In their eyes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if I don't acknowledge, then I don't have to change. If I don't acknowledge, then I don't have to change. If I don't acknowledge, I could just sweep everything under the rug, because these types of people don't care. They don't care who they lose. They don't care, in the end, they didn't care if they lost you. They didn't care, okay? Whatever supply was fulfilling them at that time, they did not care, guys. They were not thinking about you. They were thinking about themselves. They were not thinking about, oh, I really shouldn't do this because it's going to hurt this person. I really shouldn't do this because I know this person really cares about me. I really should. No, their thoughts were, well, shit. If I can have this and I can still have this, why not? Or, well, this is pretty much beaten down and ragged, and there's no more I can take out of this person. It's pretty much just, it's already taken its course. It's already done for. I'm over it. It's boring. I don't want it. I already took whatever I could out of this person, but this over here is looking really exciting for me. And it's something new, it's something different, and I want to try it. Where in there were they thinking about you? Where in there were they thinking about your relationship and everything and everything you contributed and everything you worked so hard to build? Where in there were they thinking of you? They were not thinking about you. They were not thinking about you. They were not caring about how you feel. They were not caring about the effects that it would have had on you. It's simply just whatever for them. And then you're going through the motions. And this is how it turns out, right? You're going through the motions. You're in pain, emotional pain, psychological pain. You're going through withdrawals. You don't know where your mind is. You're lost. You're in a daze. You're in a fog. You don't know what day it is of the week. You don't know what time it is of the day. You don't even want to get out of bed. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to deal with anything or anyone. You are just so, you're like a baby. You felt like a baby, like just so vulnerable and so exposed. Like you felt naked. That's how humiliated. That's how humiliated. And I'm telling you this, guys, because I know the feeling, because I was there. You felt humiliated. And you were just like, I cannot believe what just happened. And then to top it all off, while you're there in that pain and you're trying to understand it, you're trying to face it, but it's so hard. They over here partying. They out there drinking and dancing and going to clubs and doing whatever they want to do. And they're throwing their new supply in your face. And you, Matt, let somebody tell me, well, they don't know what they're doing. You won't see the Brooklyn Erica come out on that mofo. I'm telling you, man. Exclusive in total, he broke. I gotta get new contact lenses, guys. In total, he broke 3 phones and 1 laptop. One with the rock, one with the hammer, and the rest with his hands. He put the phone in the microwave too. Yeah, that's just, you know, there are so many different factors that boil behind it too, exclusive. And, you know, mental health issues plays a very big role. Okay. If the family, you know, if the person's family history has a lot of mental health issues, that plays a big role. People who suffer bipolar disorder also, or even schizophrenia, you have so many different types of disorders. It's not just with narcissism, guys, but you have so many different types of disorders. And the fact of the matter is number one, someone who suffers a personality disorder probably suffers a couple or more with it. 2, someone who suffers an extreme, like their personality disorder is extreme on the spectrum, they probably have history of mental illness. There are a lot of different factors that roll behind it. Okay, because a lot of people tend to focus on the you know, I don't want to say the superficial nature of narcissism, but they tend to roll with the, you know, the grandiose, self-importance, big ego, overly inflated. But there are dangers to narcissism. There are, especially if they can become physically dangerous, and some of them can. Some of them can, especially if there are other factors that play a very big role, whether it be a man or a woman, guys. There are other factors that play a very big role. So if you have a narcissist or a sociopath, you know, suffering, you know, they have like schizophrenia, or they have borderline, or they have, you know, just a combination of different types of disorders that makes them more dangerous. That makes them more dangerous. And at the end of the day, I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to sit around and wait to find out what other personalities or what other disorders are going to pop out. It's better to just cut your loss and just say, you know what? Lesson learned. Now I know to discern, because relationships, toxic relationships that last longer than necessary are due to lack of discernment. There's lack of discernment. There's lack of clarity. There's lack of, you know, of boundaries. There are so many different things that you've lacked in that dynamic, which is why the person or the people that you were in a toxic dynamic with, narcissist, what have you, there was a lot of lack in those dynamics. Boundaries, discernment. Okay? Boundaries, discernment. There was a lot of lack of trust. And maybe partially on your side, because you probably saw a few things that were very red flaggish for you, but you were so enmeshed in your relationship that you probably, like, you know, tossed it over your shoulder. But their lack of trust, which is pretty much heightened, you know, their paranoia gets heightened because of their lack of trust, and it strains everything. And what you're doing in the dynamic with the person or with these people is you're trying to fix things. You're trying to fix things with these people. You're trying to fix the dynamic. You're trying to fix the person. You're trying to fix the situation, even if you knew you were not wrong. Even if you knew that there was no reason for them to come at you the way they did. There was no reason for them to do what they did or say what they did. Or, you weren't even wrong in this situation. You knew that, but you took that L. You took the L. You're like, yo, I'm going to take this L because I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to do any of these things. And because you did that, it's also another reason why, because when they saw that you did that and they saw that you were willing to back down because you just didn't want, you were walking on eggshells and you just did not want to, you didn't want to entertain that. You just like, oh, I just want peace. That's it. I just want peace. Can we have some peace? Can we just fine. Okay. I'm wrong. You're right. I'm sorry. Even though you're the one who hurt me, even though you're the one who just came lashing on me, I'm sorry. Can we just, and that's when they take it further. Queen J, Erica, I saw the ex-narc at a corner store a few weeks ago and he was running, laughing out loud. Why is that? Well, let me ask you something. When the discard, was it you who discarded the narc, or was it the narc who discarded you? And if it was, depending on how the discard went, normally, well, let me know that first. Who discarded whom? So I can maybe have a better idea. Yes, Hawia. The savior complex. That's pretty much where you want to. Yeah, you want to save people. You just like, I just want peace. You go into your relationship, you go into different dynamics, and people can, they can tell that you're a peaceful person. You're not an arguing type of person. You don't want problems. You just want normality. You want peace. You want quiet. You just want to have a good time. And me, I'm an introvert. I'm a natural introvert. I sometimes go out. Usually I like to stay home. I like to be in the comfort of my own home. I like to be relaxed. Okay. I like to hang loose. I like to not wear a bra and be able to walk around my house and feel comfortable instead of having to get all dressed up and go out places. That's just me. I'm not a party person. I don't go out to parties like that. I may go to gatherings or get-togethers, but that's just who I am. Okay. I'm not into the whole, drinking and hanging out and just being around a bunch of different people. That doesn't sit with my soul. It doesn't sit with who I am. And I'm not going to, and narcissists are the kinds, because, they're very non-committal people. They're extremely non-committal. They like their freedom. They're the free spirits. Okay. They don't like to be tied down, and they don't like to be tied down. This primarily, it depends on the type of narcissist you're dealing with, because a lot of them, like I told you, some narcissist parents will abandon their children, or some will keep their kids, but their kids are going to be used as tools for them. But they're just the type that, they don't like the commitment. They don't like the responsibilities of commitment. They're more complacent in being a free spirit, where they look good to everyone else, but it's all a fake persona. It's all something that, it's like, because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want to be looked at. They don't want people pointing their fingers at them or saying things about them or pointing out their flaws, because a lot of them feel like they, oh my gosh, if you point out a narcissist's flaw, make sure you don't put your finger too close because they might bite it off. Okay. I discarded him and he came back and got me just to ghost me and discard me. There was a reason why I asked you that, Queen J. There was a reason why I asked you that, because that was exactly probably the reason why. First of all, they're cowards. Understand that. They're cowards. But because of the fact that you discarded your ex first, he needed to save face. So what they will do is, if you discard them first, they don't take rejection very well. They don't take rejection very well. If you get a chance, watch my video, The Narcissist and Revenge. Okay? If you discard them first, since they're not big on rejection, they don't take it very well. What they will end up trying to do is they'll end up trying to win you back. They'll come back into your life. They may come back into your life like a brand new person. They may, they'll promise you the world, and they may even show you that. They may show you they've changed. I've changed, and it may show in their actions. It may, and it may go on for a while. It's considered a preemptive strike where you discarded me first. You made me look like a fool. You made me look like a fool. Okay? You dumped me. You made me look like a fool because you were seeing through my bull. You were seeing through my nonsense. And at the end of the day, we can't have that. So what did he do? He flipped it around. He got you back. He won you over. And then when push came to shove, he decided to do it onto you. That was considered, it's like a revenge discard. I guess we can call it that, a revenge discard. And it's all because you discarded him first. And it's so childish. It's so childish, and it's just so, it's like, really, but unfortunately they do that. But definitely when you have a chance, check out the video. I basically explain, because there are like a few reasons and a few ways they would do things. But they do it to get back. They do it to pretty much redeem themselves, in that they can say, well, I dumped her. I left her. I broke up with her, and it's like, it makes no sense. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Not to sane people, not to people who are just like, we just want normality in our lives. These people are just like, especially if you reject them, they're out for blood. It's crazy. Yes, KX. Being in a relationship with a narc is like being in jail. Let them go, because it's like being in, just like you said, you are required to uphold certain things. You're required to be a certain type of way, to act a certain type of way, to do certain things. It's that controlling nature of them, and yet you're required to be at attention and to do all of these things because it's what keeps them in the driver's seat. When a manipulator tries to control situations, it's because that's, believe it or not, guys, believe it or not, this is the psychology term of it, of course. When they try to maintain control, that's their protection for themselves. That's how they protect themselves. That's how they're able to keep everything in order for them, in line for them, narcissist or not. So you have people who are control freaks, which is, it's possible. You have people who are just simply control freaks, that they have to have everything in a certain way because it's safe. It's safe for them. Okay. And then you have people who are just completely in it to control someone else, to get whatever they want out of that person, whatever they want to just siphon out of that person. And it's sad because it's not only in romantic relationships, it's in family relationships too. It's in family relationships. And it's harder to detect in family relationships because a lot of the time family members, they use their family card. They use that card, and they really know how to put the guilt on you. They know how to make you feel guilty for wanting to get up and be autonomous and do your own thing. So if you have, a parent who's a manipulator, a narcissist, or what have you, and they want you to take care of them financially, emotionally, they want you to take care of everything. If you decide, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I gotta fly. I gotta do my own thing. They'll automatically make you feel guilty, and they'll make you feel like you're abandoning them You're gonna leave us at a time like this. You're gonna move out knowing that there are bills and this and that. And you know why that is because that parent, especially if it's a narcissist parent, that parent either A, did not save up money. They were pretty much blowing their money on other stuff while you were taking care of things, while you were basically holding things down, or B, they had been siphoning money out of you because they're too busy stacking up their own. So they're basically spending your money, they're using your money, your resources, your funds, and they're, throwing money in between the mattress. You have parents who do that too. And because they're able to take from your resources and they don't have to touch their own, clearly, if you want to move out on your own, or if you want to do your own thing or have your own life, you can't do that because then you would be abandoning them. Oh God, my eyes, I definitely gotta clean out my lenses. Cicely, yeah, just like Ty says, do not let your guard down. Do not let your guard down. They will find a way to sneak in, especially if they know like they could tug at your heartstrings. If they can, they can say something or do something that will get you to, to fall for them. And it's funny. I was watching a video earlier today, and it was the video was signs that the devil puts someone in your life. And it's crazy because, a lot of people tend to think that God puts everyone in our lives, everyone in our path, everyone, and it's like, okay, I am a firm believer that God puts people, but he puts important people. He puts people that will, that we would be able to benefit from in our lives. The kind of people that would be of use for us and us for them. But, the devil can put people in your life too, guys. Okay. People do walk with attachments. They walk with negative attachments. They walk with spirits. They walk with, and oftentimes we tend to think, well, this is going great. So if you were dealing with a narcissist, and you were in the love bombing stage and everything is, all lovey-dovey and it's all mushy or whatever the case may be, you're thinking this is all too good to be true. This is going great. And even throughout your relationship, you're thinking these things because you've already gone from a point of, the love bombing stage into the just, being traumatically bonded to the person. When everything is said and done, you're questioning God. Why did you let this person in my life if you knew this is what they were going to do to me? I did not bring this person to your life. Okay. I didn't put this person in your life. You have free will. You have free will. Okay. He's going to have people cross your path, but you do have free will. But the devil influences people. The devil influences people, and the devil is going to use against you your fears. He's going to use whatever it is he can against you. Whatever fears you have, he's going to use it. If you have a fear of being alone, then you know something. This person, because I'm already influencing this person's life, I'm already in this person's life, I'm already sabotaging this person's life. I already have them self-sabotaging and, drinking and doing whatever, just tearing themselves down. I'm gonna put this person in your life. I can knock two birds with one stone. Often we got to be careful with the kind of people we let in our lives. Like, we can't just let anyone in our sacred space. We can't just let anyone come into our life because they have a cute smile, or they got a big butt, or they're IG popular, whatever the case may be. You have to discern. Discernment is extremely, extremely important. That is true, Ty. That is very true. That is true. Eric, I feel like that demon jump from body to body tormenting you. Yeah, that's like it's indicative of having a soul tie, you know, that soul tie that you're gonna have with people when you get involved with people, you're creating ties with people, you know, and you are creating cords with people. So whatever's attached to them is going to be attached to you, you know. That's the whole purpose of the devil doing his work. He's here to destroy people. He wants to destroy you. Okay? What's the best way to destroy someone? The best way to destroy someone is to use their fear against them. And in this case, you know, the video I was watching, it was signs that someone was sent to you by the devil, and signs that signs that God does not want you with a person or around certain people. And it's very informative too, extremely informative. And in watching this, I come to a better understanding, a really, really good understanding. I mean, not everyone here is religious, and that's understandable. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't deny God in front of anyone. But in learning that, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense. God is not going to put someone into your life who is here to destroy you. Okay? He's not going to do that. He does not want to destroy you. He wants you to make the right decisions, the right choices, but at the same time, he's giving you free will. The devil has to manipulate you in order to get you to destroy yourself. God said, I don't have to do anything. It's your choice, your free will. You do whatever you want to do. Okay? And you face whatever repercussions if you have to. It's all in your hands. I'm giving you the choice to make on your own. But the devil, no. The devil's like, nah, I need as many souls as I can get. I need as many people destroyed as I can get. And that's how he does it. He brings what you desire most, and then in the end, he uses your biggest fear to destroy you. Okay? So he brought you someone that was, you know, beautiful or handsome, charming, sweet, you know, gave you that impression that they were humble, gave you the impression that they were reliable, that they were loving, that they were loyal, that they were all of these things. Okay. So he pretty much gave you a gift with a pretty wrapper. And when everything was said and done, let's just say, you know, you have a fear of snakes. Okay. You had a beautifully wrapped gift. And once everything was said and done and you finally got a chance to open it up, what happens? A whole crap load of snakes came out. That's what he does. That's what he does. Okay? You have to be extremely, extremely careful. Extremely careful. If there are certain things that you are noticing, certain ways, even the way they talk, it's embedded in the way they talk too. Okay? They're known to being, you know, when it boils down to, every relationship is different. If they speak to you condescendingly, if they get just real disrespectful with you, like one minute they're like extremely disrespectful, they say some stuff where you gotta like, what did you just say? And then it's like back to normal, like if nothing happened. And you know, they poke little holes in there so they can, you know, they can put stuff in there to kind of get you accustomed to their abuse. So like one minute they're nice to you, then they, you know, may get like kind of disrespectful or mean towards you, but then they're nice to you again. It's that revolving, you know, it's that back and forth. But they need to do that because it's conditioning you. It's conditioning to the point that you become numb, you become complacent. And you're just like, all right, this is just their attitude. This is just who they are. They're probably having a bad day. I don't pay mind to it. I don't do this and I don't do that. But you fail to realize that not only you're enabling that behavior, and it gets worse and worse and worse over time. Give me 1 second. Yeah. KX, yes, he used to call me bad terms in his language. Yeah, because it's just that it's their way. It's like if you were involved with someone that you were really you were really digging, you were really into, you really cared about, you loved them, right? They know this. They know this. They know that you love them. They know that you cared. They know all of that. And you are willing to do pretty much anything to see that they're happy, to see that they're good. They will try to push. They'll try to push the envelope with you, just to see how far they can go with you. Okay, and it starts off with the smallest things. It starts off with the smallest things. Over time, it gets bigger and bigger. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's, and again, narcissists or even extremely narcissistic people. Okay, it could be either way. Onita, hi loves. Why do I have a slight twitch in my stomach when I see my narc ex? My narc ex's ex. Is it wrong for me to feel that way? I forgave them both and want to move on. I don't think it's wrong for you. I think that even though people tend to forget that though you forgive, you don't forget. You may forgive, but you didn't forget. You didn't forget how it made you feel. So you may not, like, the purpose of forgiveness is just not to, lord it. Like it's for you. It's not for them, and even though you forgive someone for hurting you, betraying you, doing what it is that they do, it still does not take away everything that you felt when you were in the presence of that person, when you were dealing with that person, or even the people around that person. I've had emotions where I would get triggered by people who were not even involved in, but because they are affiliated with the situation, they're affiliated with the person involved in the situation, I would get triggered. I would go to certain areas and I would be triggered. I would see certain people that I recognize and I would be triggered. And it would be like, it's not that you're holding on to the resentment and the anger and the pain, and you're not allowing that to stunt your growth. But what you're basically doing is you're still remembering the situation. You're remembering the time. You're remembering how it all happened. It's still a factor. It still comes up in your head, and that's normal. That is normal, as long as you're not like acting on it in a violent way, and you're just kind of like it's a feeling that comes and then it goes. That shouldn't be. It's gonna still take some time. It's still, because it's still up here. It's still gonna take some time. Yeah, Queen. It definitely, they definitely do. They definitely do. And the spiritual ones are no better either. The spiritual narcissists are no better either. I think they're probably worse because they hide behind God. They hide behind the Bible. They hide behind the word of God. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy that I knew people who are spiritual narcissists. They're quick to, they'll go to church. They'll go to church on Sunday, but Monday to Saturday, they're being abusive towards people. They're a total opposite person. It's like the minute they get to the door of that church, they're a totally different person when they enter. But I've learned that, listen, if the devil has permission to go up to heaven to communicate with God, demons can go into a building that has the word church on it. So you got to be discerning in that situation too. I've seen plenty of people who are spiritual narcissists. They go to church. They tag themselves in church. Oh, I'm in the church and I'm this and I'm that, and and we're going on a retreat. We're doing this. We're doing that. But they're complete hypocrites who are very, they're just the total opposite of what they try to portray when they're in the church. So they give this whole, Betty Crocker type of personality, and that they, I go to church and, the praise God and I'm spiritual and I'm this and I'm that. I'm a spiritual person. Demons are spirits too. So you're not. I don't go to church. I haven't been to church in years. I have not been to church in years, and I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite talking about, yes, you need to do this and you need to do that. You guys do whatever it is you feel you need to do. But at the end of the day, I can't, I see how these spiritual narcissists do it too. They claim spirituality, they claim enlightenment, they claim all these things, and yet they embrace toxicity, they embrace their toxicity, and they actually show their pride in their toxicity. I'm like, listen, before I throw holy water on you, get thee behind me, okay? Yes, they do, Ali. Yes, they do. They use the Bible as a weapon. She says they use the Bible as a weapon like my stepdad did to me when I was little. It's meant to be a teaching tool, not to bully. No. And that's the thing that people don't understand. People who get within the religion, you have different types of different forms of Christianity, different it's different categories under it. I'm a Christian, but my church is my home. My church is where my heart is. My heart is in my home, so my church is here. But you do have people that try to push it on you. They try to push. Listen, there's a whole point of God giving everyone free will. I understand people wanting to help educate and wanting to help save people. I understand that part. I understand it completely. But when you start to bully people and push that onto them, making them feel like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't do this and you don't do that. Who are you to judge me? Who are you to tell me where I'm going? You don't even know where you're going. So who are you to say where I'm going with it? You understand? Man is flawed, guys. Man is flawed. Anyone who comes to you and tells you there was only one perfect man who walked the face of this earth, and his name was Jesus, and he died for our sins. But that is it. Man is flawed. So any man on this earth can be influenced by the devil. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think it bears repeating. Any man who walks this earth can be influenced by the devil. So at the end of the day, anyone can tell you, if you don't do this and you don't do that and you don't go here and you don't go there, or whatever the case may be, you're going to go to hell and all of this. It's no different than being around someone who wants to control you and your life in your relationship and in your family. There really is no different. You do not use the Bible to weaponize. You don't use the Bible to tell people what to do. You don't do any of that. God does not need to beg people to praise him. He does not need anyone bullying anyone to believe in him, to follow his word. He does not need to do that. Okay? We need him. He does not need us. Straight up. Hold on 1 second. But if you notice, the devil needs us. The devil needs us. He needs us to fall for everything. He needs us to fall for whatever his plans are, whatever his manipulation is, because the minute we fall for it, the minute we give in, the minute we indulge ourselves in things that are wrong, ethically, morally, biblically, whatever, the minute we do those things is the minute we're destroying ourselves. That's the minute we're destroying ourselves. We're destroying ourselves dealing with that. So think about that the next time, if you have a narcissist, especially for people who have been in repetitive cycles. And by repetitive cycles, I mean people who have been dealing with narcissists, the same narcissist for, whether it be years or whatever. Listen, they showed you who they are the first time. Okay? You try to give them the benefit of the doubt the second time. They still showed you who they were. You said, you know what? Nah, I think I'm good. I'm not going to do this again. What did they try to do? They try to come in afterwards, claiming, repentance. I'm sorry. I've changed. It's all good. We can do this again. Let's just leave the past in the past, because narcissists are known to doing that. They like to sweep things under the rug. They'll tell you, oh, you still stuck on that? You're still stuck on that? You're still stuck on what happened 10 years ago? We ain't never fixed it 10 years ago. So why can't I bring it up to you now? Just because you think you thought we were cool? No, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. All right, guys. Yeah. It's just the devil can influence so many people, guys. And the more he has a stronghold in someone's life, the worse it is. The worse it is, because he can convince that person or these people to do any and everything. He can convince them, he can convince them to harm you. He can convince them to do a lot of different things. And at the end of the day, this is not an attempt to try to get people to roll over. I mean, you believe in what you want to believe in. I'm totally respectful of it. But for those who are very familiar with the negative aspects, the negative, spirits, and I mean, I told you guys before, I strongly felt negative beings around me. I strongly felt that, to the point I thought I was having a seizure at one time. I literally thought I was having a seizure, because it was like I was fine 1 minute and the next minute, boom. And little by little, I'm learning about people throwing negativity my way, throwing spirits at me, doing black magic, I'm learning these things. Clearly, I put it in God's hands, because I'm doing, what I'm doing. A lot of people don't like what I'm doing. A lot of people do not like what I'm doing. I've had people say, oh, you're giving away secrets, you're doing this, you're doing that. That's the whole point of it. Who the hell wants to be involved with people who bank on manipulating innocent people who wanted nothing but love for them, who wanted nothing but to be, to be there for them and be happy with them and take care of them and just get some of that in return. I don't side with people who know they have issues and don't want to change, don't want to get help for it. I don't side with none of those people. I do not side with none of them. They can walk around acting like, well, it's just my personality. You can't handle it. No, you're just a twat. Straight up. I'm going to tell you, hey, I've had no issue saying it. None whatsoever. Erica, do you think the narcissist knows he's being used by the devil? Some people, you know what? I could honestly give my honest opinion, because again, if the devil has a stronghold in your life, the devil is usually enabling very toxic behaviors. Very toxic. But it's kind of like, yeah, it's just like what Kate says. It's like, it's no and yes. It's depending on the type that you're dealing with. It's really depending on the type that you're dealing with. Because it's like when you were in the dynamic with them, first and foremost, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, the devil is leading that relationship. and you weren't aware. You weren't aware of that. You know, especially if you're very empathetic, you're very, you're just a being of God. You weren't aware of it because your intuition was clouded, and in this case, I'm pretty sure in dealing with people who are of narcissistic nature, it really probably pulled you away from God. It pulled you away from your relationship with God. Um, but in the relationship itself, the devil was pretty much intertwined in that dynamic. You were not aware. So when it boils down to the narcissist themselves, I think it really depends. It really depends. And if you're dealing with someone who deals with who dabbles with dark arts, dark magic, um, who likes to do the spiritual things and all that, chances are they know because a lot of the time they're making deals with the devil. But other people, I really couldn't say confirm for sure. But if I had to guess, I'd probably say yes and no. Yes. KX says they become your God because all you do is focus on them. You basically put all your primal focus on that person. You put all of your focus, your attention, your your loyalty, your faith, you put everything into that person. And you lose your way with God. You lose your way with your relationship with God. Because if God was, part of that relationship, none of that would have happened. If God was part of that relationship, you probably wouldn't have even been with that person. So in most cases, I like to also think that everything does happen for a reason. But I guess, well, I wanted to go over the gaslighting phrases, but we'll do that next week. We'll do that next week, guys. Because there are quite a few here, and I want you guys to really get the gist of it all. So we'll definitely work on that next week. But I'm going to, guys, I have to call it an early session. I have so much going on. I have to possibly look in the possibility of having to homeschool my son because the Board of Education out here is just during a crisis. It's just horrible. I'm trying to figure some things out, so it requires a little bit more of my attention. If it does boil down that I do have to end up homeschooling my son, I don't really think it's going to have much of an effect on the lives when we gather together on the weekly lives. I really don't think it will. But if it does, or maybe if it cuts in a day or a week or so, then I'll just keep you guys posted on it. But next week we'll definitely go over the gaslighting phrases, and it's pretty much a lot of the phrases that they like to use in this situation. And again, just to reiterate, in case anyone's watching, so they don't get a clear understanding as to what it pertains to. This pertains to people who have been in relationships with narcissists, manipulators, and just the kind of people that really don't have good intentions. Okay, really don't have good intentions. Always use discernment in your relationship, guys. Always use discernment when it boils down to people. Always set your boundaries. Always keep your guard. Keep your guard. I mean, listen, you don't have to put it all the way up here, but you just have to keep it enough to keep you safe. And, always ask questions. Always ask questions. So if you are not sure about something and you want to clarify something, always ask the questions that you need to ask. And if you get met with any kind of aggression or any kind of hostility, or they're like, how dare you, or whatever the case may be, and you're asking completely respectable questions, those are red flags. Okay, so always make sure. At the end of the day, you saw what you went through. You don't want to go through it again, and you want to make sure this time you're getting what you deserve. Okay, that's always important. Always important, guys. Thank you, Cicely. Thank you, guys. If you guys do have TikTok, You can definitely catch me over there. I'm probably going to use that. I mean, I've been loading up some of the videos, like shortening them, but loading them for people, and it actually has been it's been doing really, really well. But I might also start doing skits and stuff. So we'll see how it goes, and just you know, again, it's all for educational purposes. It's all to keep everyone on their toes. I do know that my content, like I said, is very triggering. Yes, it is, but it's meant to trigger. It's just meant to trigger logic over head over heart decisions. That's what it's meant to trigger. Okay, so we know how to make the proper decisions. So we know what to do next if something does happen. Okay, that's the whole point of Narc Survival 101. Okay, it's like classes in session. So I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to have healthy relationships and just, you know, just get what you deserve. That's it. Is that too much to ask? Get what you guys deserve, right? You deserve love, get it. Happiness, get it. Hold on one second. You're very welcome, Ty. Very welcome. I want to make sure I don't forget anyone. Yes, boundaries, guys. Boundaries. Stella, have a great night, sweetheart. Always keep those boundaries up, okay? Keep those boundaries up and just keep staying on your path, okay? They're going to probably be distractions. So if you run into a couple of distractions, you know, try to make a U-turn or try to, you know what I'm saying, dodge. It's important to your healing, and it's important to your mental health. That's what's important, okay? That's what we focus on here. Davey, thank you for being here. And guys, and I guess whomever couldn't make it to the you know, they'll catch it on the stream. So I'm, you know, and if you guys have questions, if you guys want to contact me, you know, with regards to anything, all of my information will be in the description box below. You can reach me, my email. You can send me a message on IG, whichever. If I'm unable to answer it, Amanda will let me know, and I'll definitely make sure to answer in a timely manner for you guys. All right, yeah, that's my cue to go. So guys, I hope you all have a great remainder of your week. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I may do a video. I may work on another video for the week, so I'll keep you guys posted on it. In the meantime, just keep the positive vibes up, okay? Keep the positive thoughts up. You know, stay strong. Don't let distractions deter you. You guys are getting where you need to be, and that's what counts. That's what's important, okay? That's the main goal. I will see you all next week. Same time, same place. Hopefully my son's school situation will work out where I can definitely devote way more time to what I need to for the channel and for everyone who's been supportive of it. So I love you all, guys. Have a great night. God be with you all. May He place a hedge of protection over all of you. And if you need me, you know where to find me. All right, guys. Have a great night. Bye.